Hey there, my people. I am presenting for your viewing pleasure one of my favorite episodes of the Twilight Zone, and that's It's a Good Life. This stars a 6-year-old Billy Mumy who is phenomenal in this role. Now, here's the setup. A small town lives in constant fear of one seemingly innocent little boy by the name of Anthony Fremont. Anthony's no regular little kid, peeps. He has powers which he can use at will on or against anybody. As a result, he has this little town literally held hostage. The townsfolk have to obey his every command or whim, or something messed up is going to happen to him. Now, here's the overarching question, peep, and it's this. What happens when a child holds so much power and no one dares to challenge him? That's the setup, peeps. Now let's get to it.
Tonight's story on the Twilight Zone is somewhat unique and calls for a different kind of introduction. This, as you may recognize, is a map of the United States, and there's a little town there called Peaksville.
On a given morning, not too long ago, the rest of the world disappeared and Peaksville was left all alone. Its inhabitants were never sure whether the world was destroyed and only Peaksville left untouched, or whether the village had somehow been taken away. They were, on the other hand, sure of this one thing: the cause. A monster had arrived in the village. Just by using his mind, he took away the automobiles, the electricity, the machines, because all of this displeased him. And he moved an entire community back into the Dark Ages just by using his mind. Now, peeps, here's Rod Serling introducing you to some of the people who live in Peaksville.
This is Mr. Fremont. It's in his farmhouse that the monster resides. This is Mrs. Fremont, and this is Aunt Amy. Now, the monster doesn't like singing, so his mind snapped at her and turned her into the smiling, vacant thing.
And Rod goes on to tell us that Aunt Amy sings no more. Then Rod goes on to point out the people in Peaksville. He says that the people have to smile and that they have to think happy thoughts and say happy things around the monster, because once the monster is displeased, the monster can wish them into the cornfield or change them into a grotesque walking horror. And Rod says this. He says that this particular monster can read minds. He knows every thought and he feels every emotion.
This is the monster. His name is Anthony Fremont. He's 6 years old with a cute little boy face and blue, guileless eyes. But when those eyes look at you, you'd better start thinking happy thoughts.
Real happy thoughts, peeps, because the mind behind those eyes is absolutely in charge. Next, we have Bill, the delivery guy, biking up to Anthony's house. Since Anthony took cars out of commission, you either walk, like we saw those two guys who look like they were fishermen, or you ride a bike. We see that Anthony is playing in the dirt and Aunt Amy is sitting on the porch. Bill gets off the bike and says, "Howdy, Anthony. Mighty good to see you today." Anthony turns to look at Bill, and Bill puts on the biggest smile and says, "It's mighty good." Bill lifts the box off his bike and says, "It's such a good day, isn't it? A real good day." Aunt Amy gets up from her chair and says, "It's a terrible hot day, though. It's a terrible hot day." Now, peeps, y'all remember that little Anthony put the whammy on Aunt Amy's mind, so she's not really able to put her guards up in her head, so she's liable to say anything. Anthony cuts her a look, and Bill pipes in real quick. "Oh, I wouldn't say that, Aunt Amy. No, sir, I wouldn't say that at all. It's fine. It's just fine. It's a real good day." And peeps, you see that Anthony turns and smiles at Bill. Then Bill asks, "What are you doing, Anthony?" "My, that's real good, whatever it is. I was just wondering what you were doing." "Okay, you know what? Why are you asking this kid anything? Dude, you need to deliver that stuff and get the heck up out of there. Everybody need to limit their talking and contact to this kid. I know I would be. I wouldn't go near this little dude if I didn't have to. If this was me, I'd deliver what I came to deliver and I'd be out of there. I'm just saying." So Bill asks the kid what he's doing, and the kid says,
"I made a gopher with 3 heads. See him? I'll make him dead now. I'm tired of playing with him. Be dead. Gopher, you be dead."
Malai, that's real fine that you done that.
Peeps, this is a hot mess. That kid made a 3-headed gopher. I am so happy that Rod spared me and did not show any type of a special effect, because a 2-headed gopher would have had me screaming. But a 3-headed one? And Bill had to praise this kid for it, because if he didn't, there's no telling what he would do, what reaction he would have. "That's real fine, Anthony," Bill says. "You're a good boy, Anthony. We all love you, Anthony. Don't we, Aunt Amy? Don't we love Anthony? We sure do love him. We love that boy." Oh, Pete! So Bill turns and goes into the house with the box of goods. "Howdy, Mrs. Fremont," he says, and she responds, "Howdy, Bill. Got everything?" Bill says pretty much. Didn't have any more laundry soap, though. All out of laundry soap. Mrs. Fremont says, "Not even the bar soap?" Bill says, "Out of all of that, too. We've been out of that for a year. You know that, Mrs. Fremont. We ain't had no bar soap for over a year. But I got a couple cans of tomato soup in here. Didn't even know we had 'em left. And Anthony just loves tomato soup, don't he? So I brought that." Mrs. Fremont says, "Oh, Bill." And Bill says, "You'll tell him, won't you, Mrs. Fremont? Tell him I brought the tomato soup because I heard he liked it. Tell him I brought it, won't you?" Mrs. Fremont says, "Yes, I will, Bill. Of course I will. Matter of fact, I'll tell him right now." And Bill hurries up, Peeps, and says, "Oh, no, you don't have to do that, Mrs. Fremont. You don't have to go to the trouble now. As a matter of fact, I got to get going. I got to get back to the store." Mrs. Fremont says, "You don't have to be frightened of him, Bill. He likes you. He's told me that several times, how much he likes you. You're right. If memory serves me right, he used to like Aunt Amy before he did that number on her, right?" Peeps, y'all gotta put distance, like I'm saying. Y'all gotta put distance between y'all and this kid. You only need to be around him when you need to be around him. If you don't need to be around this kid, you know what? You need to think good thoughts as you walking by and put a big old smile on your face as you walking by and say, "Howdy, Anthony," as you are walking by. And once you get far enough down the road, if it was me, when I'm out of sight of that kid, I'm gonna start running. I'm gonna run all the way to my house, shut my door, lock my door, and be thankful I have survived another day in this kid's environment. I'm just saying, Peeps. So Bill says, "I gotta get going, Mrs. Fremont." And she says,
"We'll see you tonight, Bill."
Tonight?
Tonight's television night. Anthony's going to put a nice picture on television. And we're going to have the surprise party for Dan Hollis.
Oh, I'll be here, Miss Fremont.
"Oh, dude. Po dude. There is nothing about his face that shows he's geeked and excited to be showing up later on for this party. And remember, Peeps, Anthony got rid of electricity, so he makes television with his little Anthony man. Apparently once a week, and some of the neighbors come over to watch it with him." Well, Bill leaves, and Mrs. Fremont goes outside. Aunt Amy is on the porch, and Mrs. Fremont asks, "Where's Anthony?" Aunt Amy says, "I think he went into the barn. I keep telling him he shouldn't go there, but he keeps on." Mrs. Fremont says, Amy, it's a real good thing that Anthony goes into the barn, a real good thing. Aunt Amy says, but Agnes, he isn't even around, so you don't have to keep on. And Mrs. Fremont shakes her head and says, it's nice that he goes into the barn. It's real nice. And she adds, we mustn't think anything bad about him, Amy. Aunt Amy says, but he isn't even around. Mrs. Fremont says, but Amy, dear, you know as much as I do that sometimes
Sometimes he can hear what we're thinking, no matter where he is. So you just keep thinking real nice things.
Peeps, this is some kind of hellacious way to live. A bunch of grown-ups trapped and controlled by a kid, having to put on fake smiles and tell the kid he's great and everybody loves him and that everything he does is wonderful, even when it's the most scariest and harmful thing that a human being can do to another human being. And they can't have so much as a cross expression or thought lest this kid pick up on it and make them suffer for it. And nobody can do anything about it, not even his own parents have any control over him. Next we see Anthony's dad shaving. I guess he's getting ready for the party that's going to take place later on. All of a sudden his dad stops, sensing something.
Well, howdy, Anthony.
Now, if that ain't hot, this kid can just all of a sudden be standing there. Peeps, this just shows you that every second of all this kid's waking hour, you gotta be on, because his stealth ninja little self can just quietly appear and catch you thinking something tore up about him. And then he gonna have something for you. Peeps, here we see Anthony engaging with one of his parents, his dad, which gives us a peek into the tenuous relationship the father has to have with his 6-year-old kid. The dad tells Anthony that he was looking for him a bit ago, and that your mama said you were out in the barn. Anthony says, yeah, I was looking at the cow. The dad says, oh, that's good. That's real good that you were looking at the cow. Now, you weren't playing any tricks on your old dad, were you? I mean, remember last year when we had the pigs? Anthony says, I turned them into monsters. The dad says, oh, doggone if you didn't. Funny looking things too. But good things, Anthony. Real good things. And it's good that you done that. Oh, it's real good. And the dad pats him on the head as he walks by and he picks up his shirt. Anthony is now laying across the bed and he says, it's television night tonight. I'm going to make television for everybody. The dad says, oh, you sure are. And everybody is looking forward to it too. Just like they do every week when you make television. And we're going to have that surprise birthday party for Dan Hollis too. Anthony says, no kids came over to play with me today. Not a single one. No kidding. All right. And I wanted somebody to play with. His dad says, oh, well, Anthony, you remember the last time some kids came over to play, the little Frederick's boy and his sister. Anthony says, I had a real good time. The dad says, oh, yeah, sure you did. Sure you did. You had a real good time. And it's good that you had a good time. It's real good. It's just that, you wished them away into the cornfield and their mommy and daddy were real upset. Anthony says, about what? See, people, this is power in the hands and in the mind of a child. Does not see because they cannot. A 6-year-old is devoid of a certain level of reality. And that's this kid. It is healthy for a kid to believe in dreams and believe in fairy tales and be devoid of a certain level of reality because that's what being a child is all about. But if you have that type of mentality in a child that has complete and total unchecked power, it is beyond being dangerous. And what did the dad say? Well, Anthony, it's just that if you keep wishing people away, there won't be no one left. And then the dad says, maybe next week we'll talk to some of the folks about bringing their children by. You're right. We'll do that, won't we? And Anthony says, and I can make those funny animals, Dad, i.e. monsters. Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun to do. And as they're talking, there's a dog barking outside, and Anthony says, it's Bill's collie. That's that dog that comes around. And his dad says, yeah, that does sound like Bill's dog.
Not many dogs left now, Anthony. You wish them all away.
I don't like him. They didn't like me. I hate anybody like that. I hate anybody that doesn't like me.
And then his dad says, why, everybody loves you, Anthony. They love you, son. You're everybody's favorite. You know what? This has got to be mentally and emotionally exhausting. Peeps, every minute of every day having to affirm this kid so he doesn't lash out. Then the kid says this. I heard somebody think one time, I don't remember when, but sometime, that I shouldn't wish away all the automobiles and things and electricity. They said that it wasn't good that I did that. Somebody thought that one time. And the kid is thinking and he asks, who? Who thought that? And his dad says, why, that was, Teddy Reynolds who thought that. He owned that farm up the road. And the kid says,
he shouldn't have thought those bad thoughts. That's why I made him go on fire.
And Peeps, you can just hear this dog barking outside the window, and I'm going, okay, this is not going to end well for the pooch. And so Anthony gets up and he goes over and he says, that dog, that collie dog, he doesn't like me. He's a bad dog. And the next thing you know, it's all silent. The barking is gone. And his dad asks, Anthony, did you do something to Bill's dog? Really? You think you really do have to ask him that question? Did you, son? He asks. And the kid said, I put him in the cornfield. He isn't outside anymore. And the kid just turns around and walks out the room like it is just another day in his life. Wow. And so, Peeps, the mom comes running up.
Bill Soames' collie was out in the yard.
Why, Anthony put him in the cornfield. Isn't it a real good thing that he done that, honey? Isn't it a real good thing?
As stuck can be. These two people are messed up, Peeps. This whole town is hit. But to be this kid's parents and to have to not just walk on eggshells, but to live 24/7/52 on eggshells. Everybody and anybody anywhere near this kid is hit with no apparent way out. All right, let's continue. Now it's later in the evening, and a group of townspeople have gathered together at Anthony's house for television night and to celebrate Dan Hollis's birthday. You know what? Are you people high? You're shaking in your shoes at the thought of having to attend television night with this demon spawn, having to keep your thoughts, happy little thoughts, and having to keep smiles on your faces. So why in the world would you schedule a birthday party that's not for him at this kid's house? Okay, let's see how this hot mess is gonna turn out. Peeps, they're looking at the TV that this kid is making up for them out of his little Anthony head. Now, I want all of you to envision today's scariest movie and just play it in your own mind, and that is what watching TV with this kid is like. Look at the faces on the adults. They're appalled, they're cringing, they're horrified. And all they can do is to sit in the midst of this and try to think good thoughts. You know what, peeps? You couldn't make me hang out with this kid. He'd have come straight to my house and get a sister. I don't see those two guys that were walking past earlier. I don't see them in the room. That would be me, except I wouldn't even walk past this kid's house. I'm just saying. So the movie is over, and all the adults have to hype Anthony up.
That's all the television there is.
Oh, it was wonderful, Anthony. Wasn't it, everyone?
Oh, that was real good.
Wasn't Anthony's television wonderful tonight?
They're all telling Anthony what a great movie this hot mess really was. Oh, it was just the best, says one. It was much better than old TV, i.e. The Real Thing, peeps, another person says. Much better. Then Anthony's mom says, and now the big surprise for Dan's birthday. Go ahead, Ethel, give your hubby the big surprise. And Anthony's mom scoops him up into her lap, and Dan's wife, Ethel, gives him a 78. And peeps, that's old school for a record that you play on a record player. Dan looks closely at it, and he says happily, oh, it's Perry Como. Why, I haven't heard Perry Como in years and years, and peeps me neither, because Perry Como was hot back in the 40s and the 50s. People, Dan is so happy, and he's looking at his wife, Ethel, and he's just grinning like she's giving him the best gift in the world. Ethel says, happy birthday, darling. Happy birthday. Now, peeps, throughout this whole exchange, keep your eyes on little man Anthony's facial expressions, because the attention is no longer on him, but on one of the adults.
Do you think we could play it? Silence.
I don't think we'd better, Dan. It'd be taking too much of a chance. Better wait till we get home.
Dude, you high. In all the excitement, did you forget where you were? You want to put a record on in the house of a kid who zapped his treasured auntie because she was singing and he don't like singing. Look, apparently there's a gramophone in the house, peeps, because we can see Dan point to it. Gramophones don't take electricity. There's this handle on the side, and you crank up the handle, and it makes the record go around, and that's how you get the music. Dude, you've got a gramophone at your house because Anthony's dad says wait and play it when you get home. Look, this kid is already getting hot because now you're the center of attention. Dude, brother man, let this go.
It's good I can't play it here.
Oh, yes, it's good. It's very good.
And now it's time for Pat Riley to play the piano. Pat?
My pleasure.
You know what, peeps? Even though these adults frustrate me to no end, I know I need to give them a break because they are as stuck can be. Look at them, people. A room full of grown folks held hostage by the whims of a 6-year-old with supernatural powers, and they're completely and totally cut off and on their own against this little kid tyrant. No matter how you spin this is never gonna end well for these grown-ups. Not at all. So, peeps, in addition to having been gifted with a Perry Como record, Dan has also been given a bottle of peach brandy, which he decides to drink while Pat Riley is playing the piano. So, peeps, let's continue with this soon-to-occur train wreck.
It would be good if you told me what to play, Anthony.
Just play. Don't make any noise when the music's playing. I don't like any noise when the music's playing.
So Phil continues playing and Dan continues drinking. Anthony's mom motions to Dan's wife and she turns and sees him taking another drink, and so she gets up and goes over to him to get him to stop. She says, Dan, please. And Dan responds, please what? I'm not doing anything. I'm just drinking this peach brandy. I'm just drinking one of my birthday presents. That's all I'm doing. And then he goes on and says, you know, this is real good brandy, real good. There's only 5 bottles of real whiskey left in the whole village. Only 5 bottles. There's 1 rye, 2 scotch, 1 after dinner liqueur, and this here. When that's all gone, there won't be any whiskey left at all. None at all. No whiskey at all. Peeps, Phil keeps playing to keep the kid distracted, and Dan, who's lit because he's been drinking pretty fast, well, he just goes off.
I can't even play my own record. I can't even play Perry Como.
The problem, peeps, is that the whole party is now unraveling. This is the worst thing anybody could have done, and that's to try to throw a party that doesn't have nothing to do with this kid at this kid's house. These adults should have known better. Now, this is what they're faced with. Dan, who's all the way lit now, with absolutely nothing restraining how he feels and thinks and what he says, peeps, fear with a serious helping of peach brandy has created an out-of-control train with nothing but a serious wreck at the end of it.
You and her, you had him. You had to go have him.
Wow, people, look at the guilt on Anthony's parents' faces. And they know Dan is right. They're scared of their own little kid. And the whole town, the entire population of what's left of this little old town is suffering because of it. Is suffering because of them. And now Dan is getting ready in his peach brandy haze to do what Anthony's own daddy should have been done. Dan's getting ready to do it. And that's to stand up to this little devil-spawned tyrant.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when I am blue.
Dang, look at this hot mess. Adults cringing in the background, and this kid is squaring up like it's high noon at the OK Corral. Hey y'all, Dan's in for a penny, and Brother Man is in for a pound because he's doing something in that house that's not allowed. He's singing. Peeps, he's all in, and he's going out singing. Here we go.
You think about me, and maybe some man in this room, somebody who's so sick to death of living in this kind of place, will sneak up behind you and lay something heavy across your skull.
Peeps, what Dan is alluding to is the fact that Anthony can only concentrate on one person at a time. If he's in somebody's head, he can't hear the thoughts of another person. People, this is his only weak spot, his kryptonite, so to speak. So Dan is trying to keep the kid focused on him, but to no avail really, because all the dudes in the room are standing there, frozen in fear. The only one to come close to trying to make a move is the auntie. And people, you see that she pulls back at the last minute. And you know what? I cannot blame a sister because she has front seat knowledge of how this kid can strike out. Because she still got that toe up head of hers. So peeps, With nobody standing up to support Dan, this thing can only end one way.
And you keep thinking bad thoughts about me.
Please, son, wish it into the cornfield, please.
Wow, peeps, this kid is straight up cold-blooded. But that's not all. People, you best believe he's got a message for Dan's wife, as well as to everybody else in the room. So, little brother man says this.
And you mustn't think bad thoughts about me either, or I'll do the same thing to you. Play some more music.
It's good what you've done to Dan. It's real good.
Swell.
And peeps, this is how the episode ends, with this town still being held under the whim of a 6-year-old little kid. Grown-up adults literally having to affirm every tore-up thing he does or says. Rod Serling has this to say. No comment here, no comment at all. We only wanted to introduce you to one of our special citizens, little Anthony Fremont, age 6, who lives in a village called Peaksville, in a place that used to be Ohio. And if by some strange chance you should run across him, you had best only think good thoughts. Anything less than that is handled at your own risk. Because if you do meet Anthony, you can be sure of this one thing. You have entered the Twilight Zone.
And tomorrow's going to be a real good day.
Well, peeps, there you have it. The Twilight Zone episode called It's a Good Life. People, little Billy Mummy played that role. He was scary, manipulative, controlling, and how he could just flip on you. Facial expressions and all. A little kid with a little kid mind and understanding, right? But with unbelievable power, uncontested and absolute, inside of a little kid's frame. Remember what he said to Ethel, Dan's wife, at the end? Just think something tore up about me. Now, I'm paraphrasing, peeps. Just think something tore up about me, and I'll do the same to you. That chick just lost her husband, and she had to put a smile on her face. To me, that was the most chilling scene in this whole episode. I would suggest you see the entire thing for yourself to get the full chilling effect. And peeps, I also love the parents, as they were just as stuck as everybody else, not able to control the monster, as Dan put it, that they made. In that scene where the parents was looking out the window, peeps, it was snowing. That kid had made snow, and he didn't even take into consideration the damage this snow would have on the crops, destroying probably most of them. What made this entire episode so great to me, and one of my favorites, is it explores the concept of unchecked power and its impact on those around it, with a tense atmosphere as everyone is forced to comply with this kid's demands in order to survive. It's a haunting reflection of the danger of absolute power, absolute control, and the fear of consequences when you step outside of that control, or when you challenge that control. Peeps, the rebooted Twilight Zone did a continuation of this very episode titled It's Still a Good Life, starring Bill Mummy as a 40-something-year-old Anthony. Cloris Leachman, she returns as his mother. And his daughter, Audrey, was played by Mummy's actual daughter, Lillian. I didn't care for this reboot, peeps, because it just did not age well. Whereby you've got this 6-year-old who's scary and monstrous. Well, you got a 46-year-old dude, and he's just a bully with powers. 6-year-old Anthony putting the little brother and little sister in the cornfield, remember they were talking about that earlier? That has a different feel than 40-year-old Anthony striking out at little kids because his daughter got accidentally hurt. You see what I mean? At the end of the day, this dude is just a bully. A big bully with powers. A big bully who can make people do what he wants them to do because he is a bully with powers. At the end of the day, I thought the sequel had a lot of potential, but for me it was a big miss. Well, my people, there you have it. Leave a comment if you wish, but here's my rules. No politics, religion, personal views, personal platforms, personal whatever, because that'll get deleted. Look, peeps, I'm an old lady, and I am only interested in talking about movies and TV programs. Straight, no chaser, nothing more. As always, I want to give a shout out to my subscribers. Peeps, y'all a jam, for sure. And to my viewers, thank y'all for stopping by and checking out the content. I really appreciate that. Won't you consider subscribing? Think about it. And to all of you, hey, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, just to keep the content moving. Peeps, spread kindness where you are and take out some time to show kindness to yourself, okay? Well, that's it. Bye-bye for now.